This video is brought to you by Ageless Geeks.
Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, this is Anthony, aka Batbomb82, and today I'll be doing a review of the Medicom Mafex Batman Hush Edition. Now, taking a look at the front, we can see that the figure is showcased in your standard Mafex window box packaging. Turning the box around, we can see the figure in multiple posing positions with his different interchangeable parts and accessories. So with the box out of the way, let's crack this figure open and see what we have inside. Alright guys, now let's take a closer look at this new Hush Batman. Now I'm going to be very honest here, I am not a fan of Mafex figures. I've had so many issues with them over the years. You know, the QC issues have just been terrible. And I know some people will tell me, well, they've gotten better over the years. You know, I really don't care. I still have issues. I know some people have been posting pictures of figures still breaking pretty consistently of Mafex, so obviously they haven't fixed their issues all that much. But I do like what they're doing with these more like comic book accurate designs. I think they look pretty cool, and I know I'm like the 1000th person to actually review this figure, which I don't care because it's been out for a while now, but I still want to check it out with you guys. So I think the figure itself looks really cool. That is definitely like a Jim Lee style head sculpt. I think it looks pretty good, fairly accurate. I like it. I like the sculpting of the brow and things like that in the mouth. All looks really good. That logo, I love that logo. I just think it looks cool. I love just the giant black bat logo going across the chest. I'm not a big fan of the yellow oval. That's just me. But I think the belt looks good. The structure of the musculature, excuse me, looks really nice too. There was like an airbrush in there to, you know, bring out the sculpt, which is really nice. So I dig that, man. All throughout the figure looks really good. Same thing with the blue things on like the gloves. There's a little bit of airbrushing on there to make it look really nice. So I like that. The tread on the feet looks really good too. We got this giant freaking cape. Holy cow. This thing is ridiculous. So I don't even know what to think. Look at how huge this cape is. That is ridiculous, man. Look how it just engulfs the whole camera, the whole screen here. That is not, I don't know if I like it. I don't think I like it. That's a little too big for me. It does have a bendy wire, so you can pose it around and things like that, so that's really cool too. But that is huge. I don't think this figure needs that big of a cape. And because the way it's like shaped or installed, I guess, to where it comes to the front of the cowl here, it's kind of like always resting around the shoulders like this. Even when you pull it back, you know what I mean? It's kind of resting around the shoulders. And you can still, I've been having to like fold it back like this and get that bendy wire to work for you to pull it back like that. And then here, but then there's so much bunched up cape in the back. It is just insane. So man, I love the look of this figure, but getting this cape to look natural when he's just like posed on a shelf is like almost impossible. And I'm not a big super fan of wired capes. I like just a soft goods draping cape. That's just me, and I know some people like wired capes. It's totally fine. That's just not for me. But this cape is just crazy, and you can still get into some good action poses for taking pictures and things like that, so I like that. But man, there's just so much of it here. It's insane. The figure itself looks good, but that cape really throws it off for me. Okay, so let's talk accessories here. We do get interchangeable hands. You got things like open palm hands, little loose fingered hands. You got like semi-gripping hands, little spaces between the fingers and things like that. You got closed fisted hands. You got hands that actually have the little batarangs in there sculpted between like the knuckles, which I think is pretty cool too, so I like that. Those are really nice. And then we get two hands that are actually holding his little grapple shooter, the little grapple gun. One for each side. You got one for the, left here, and then one for the right, like that. Both just holding his gun, which I think is actually pretty cool. I do like that. Really nice sculpt on that. The silver is really nice and really vibrant. So I think that's pretty cool. You can see there is a peg hole in there, so you get the actual grapple hook, and you can actually plug that in there like that. So I think that looks really cool. Dig that a lot. But we also get one with a long extended like grapple wire like that, and you can just plug this in there as well. It's a little tricky. Yeah, this is hard to do on camera sometimes. You can get that in there like that, and get my camera to actually focus. So I think that's really cool too. That's a very nice sturdy. It doesn't feel like a bendy wire. I'm pretty sure it's just a straight little thin piece of plastic. So just be careful with that. You don't want to break that. But that's still pretty cool. I do like that. We also do get a ton of different batarangs here. You can see them in different styles, which is pretty cool. I really dig how they gave us multiple types of batarangs. I think it's pretty cool. There's not just one style, but there's multiple styles. And to be honest, I don't remember him using all those different styles of batarangs in the comics. I have all the Hush comics, and then pretty sure they're there. I just don't remember off the top of my head. So, speaking of heads, nice segue there, Bat Bomb. We got the single head right here we've seen before that I've already shown you. You can actually pop this off of the neck like so. It's on a little ball peg. And we can put this one on. And then now you have him with the gritting teeth, which I think looks really good too. Now, I'm always super picky when it comes to head sculpts that are like showing the teeth, because a lot of companies can't do them right. I'm looking at you, Mezco. This one actually looks pretty good and actually looks pretty accurate to the comic, so I think that looks really cool too. So very, very nice. Now with this, you can actually pop the whole thing off at the neck peg like that, and then we can also bring in this sculpt right here, which is the Unmasked Sculpt of Bruce Wayne. Now again, I think this actually looks pretty good. This looks a lot like Jim Lee's Bruce Wayne, which looks really nice. The musculature, the facial structure, the jaw structure, the cheekbones, the mouth, the eyebrows, very, very Jim Lee. The hair looks really nice. Got the nice blue in there, looking really good too. Dig that a lot, man. So very cool looking head sculpt. All right, now let's check out his articulation. Mafex figures do tend to have pretty good articulation, so let's check that out here. And I want to see how good these joints are, you know what I mean? So the head and neck are on ball pegs, so that rolls around very nicely. It does turn left and right, up about that far, down about that much, so that's pretty good. And he does pivot side to side. Arms can go full 360 like so, up and out that much. Do get a butterfly joint in there, rotation at the bicep, double jointed elbows, which is really nice, rotation at the wrist, as well as a hinge at the wrist. We do get a double ball peg in the midsection that goes into his crotch and into his chest, so that rolls around like there, does rotate left and right, crunches back and forth, a little bit of gapping in there, not too bad. Yeah, you can kind of like maneuver it to close that gap a little bit, and then it crunches back and forth, so that's really good too. And then pivot side to side. We got hip joints that kick up and out that far, so that's pretty good. Back about that much. Can do the splits about there. Rotation of the upper thigh, that feels a little tight. I get a little scared about that. I can really hear the plastic rubbing on each other, so I hope that doesn't break at some point. Double jointed knees, that works very nice. Ankles go up, down, rotate, ankle rocks to the sides, and toe articulation. So the articulation is pretty good. It doesn't feel terrible. This I will definitely say this is definitely one of the better Mafex figures I've felt like holding in hand. He doesn't feel as fragile. The joints don't feel that bad. So hopefully that's a good thing to come, because I do want to start collecting some of their DC stuff. I think that looks really, really cool. This is a great looking figure. I think he looks awesome. I think he looks pretty accurate to the actual comic. I think he's a little thin, honestly, when it comes to the design of the comic book. The Jim Lee Hush Batman was a little more stockier. This one's a little more slim. But other than that, I still think he looks great. And yeah, I think he would be a definite pickup if, you don't mind, trying out a Mafex figure. Again, I understand the issues in the past, but he's honestly not that bad. So for a quick size comparison, here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool and NECA Batman figures. Also for comparison, here he is standing next to a DC Universe Classics Batman and McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman. And just for fun, here he is with little Lego Bat Bomb. So there it is, guys, my review of the Hush Batman. Now, to be honest, this figure had a lot to live up to with me, as I don't like Mafex figures, and I love Jim Lee's rendition of Batman. And to be honest, I think they did a pretty good job. The sculpt is really nice. The face sculpts especially look really good. They look just like Jim Lee's artwork. The paint is really good and clean. The articulation works pretty well. Even some of the joints feel a little awkward here and there, but it's not bad by any means. All the accessories that we do get are very well done, but man, that cape is insane. There is just so much of it. It's really going to get bunched up when you're trying to pose them around, and you really have to figure out how you're going to want to pose that thing to look good and natural. It's kind of difficult. Now, if you have him in an aerial position with the cape all posed around and flared out, I think it'll look pretty awesome, and you'll see some pictures shortly. But just having a straight draped down cape for more static poses, it's not going to look good at all. It's constantly going to look pretty awkward. And if you can get past that, I think it's a pretty nice figure. Again, QC issues here and there, but luckily mine's pretty good, and I'm pretty stoked to add this Mafex Hush Batman to my collection. So please comment, like, and subscribe. Stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.